So it's just after New Year's, which means it's bowl season for college football. The national championships just around the corner. And it's almost like a rite of passage at this time of the year, the age-old discussion of should college athletes be paid? It comes up and people debate it nonstop. So we're going to discuss it today. And I'm in the position that college football and college basketball are different than the other sports because they bring in so much money for the universities and for these television networks. Everybody is getting rich off of these sports and they're not having to pay the players at all. So it's almost like free labor for them. And I really do think it is time that players do begin to get paid in those particular sports, especially for a sport like football. Most of these kids will never play in the NFL and not be able to make money off the sport. Why not give them a chance to make some money while they're playing college football? And yes, I hear the argument, okay, but they're getting a free education out of it. That pales in comparison to how much money they are making for their school and for the networks. So that's my position on it. I know we're going to debate it here. What do you guys think on it?
Bobby, you want to hit this one first?
Sure, I'm the anti-pay guy. Now, I'm not saying it's not a fair system. It's totally unfair. The NCAA is skating by here. Football, who makes a ton of money,
tons,
does pay for the other programs. So what a lot of people don't know is the money that goes to the football team goes to the athletic programs of that school. And so football basically pays for swimming. They'll pay for cross country. They pay for everything. Football and basketball, basically, because those are the only two sports that are equitable. Everything else either loses money or doesn't make any money. That being said, college it's amateur sports. So I don't want to see money being given to amateurs. Now, if they make money on the side, kind of fine. You kind of risk, boosters saying, hey, come to our school. We'll basically pay you, X amount of dollars a year to go sign autographs or do some stuff around. I would like to see the NCAA funnel more money back into scholarships, not for just student athletes, but for students. Like, give some money so that these programs are more affordable. I believe in the States, we pay some pretty hefty not scholarship, but school fees up here. In the States, I think it's exponentially, especially if you go to not a state school. If you go to, if you go to Florida instead of Florida State, you're looking at, or Michigan versus Michigan State. Michigan, you're probably looking at 8, 9, 10,000 per year for a certain school, maybe even 20,000.
You're way low on that, Bobby. It's like 25 G's a year. It's in that ballpark. American. So for us Canadians, that's like 40 grand for
right. So
you convert the dollar amount. But okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Think about how much there are on student loans. How many kids say, hey, we're going to basically spend our first 6 years trying to pay off our student loans. Funnel the money back to these kids, but I don't want to see them get paid, because then all of a sudden, they're going to get paid based off of where they go, and all of a sudden Alabama's going to get more people because they're going to get paid because they're a big winning school. The SEC is going to get more kids because that's where all these
they already go there going. Already. Bobby,
they're going to get even.
It's already happening,
but they can get even more. And these boosters from these small schools, because the small schools like Alabama has the boosters. USC doesn't have. USC has a lot of rich people, but like there are people that live in Alabama that they live for Alabama football, and they're probably already funneling money to kids. I know that if you back into the, I believe it was the 80s, SMU, they made a joke that guys that went to SMU at Southern Methodist would take a pay cut to go to the NFL because they were getting paid so much. Find a way to funnel these kids money. The stipends that these college players get is ridiculous. I believe there was numbers where it's like some of the kids basically get to eat 3 times a day. I'm like 240 pounds, and I need to eat more than 3 times a day. I can't even imagine what a 300-pound lineman has to eat. So funnel them some more money somehow. Don't pay them, but funnel them money. Funnel money to kids that play. Even funnel money to the players, but it's got to be equitable to keep the system semi-level.
Okay.
Frank, you need a tiebreaker here. What do you think?
Okay, so for me, I've been looking at some stats here, football, baseball, whatever it is. So college sports brings within 30 to 40 million in revenue universities every year. That's not a small figure. So, it's sad that they're not paying, for their sweat and tears and stuff. But this happens even though these players bake their backs every year year in and year out, but they really can't enjoy the fruits of their labor, essentially. So I'm looking at reasons as to as kind of other benefits as to like, some get scholarships, some get free educations and such. But how about this? How about the fact that, paying colleagues actually make them healthier? If you really think about it, when college athletes get paid, they wouldn't need to work for or look for like employment elsewhere to take care of their daily needs. And I'm not talking about like the D1 5-star recruits. Like, if you have athletes who are not going to make pro, but knowing that they get paid, maybe they'll concentrate on their studies better, knowing that they don't have to look for a job as well, all on top of their collegiate sports, right? So now I don't have to worry about making essentially ends meet. How about relief for their families? How about these people that don't have these athletes that don't have scholarships that are relying on their families for, books, and dorms and all this kind of stuff. So think about the relief on their family side. And how about like, motivation to play, knowing that they're getting paid? Maybe you might see guys actually stay in college a little longer, right? Knowing that they may not make the pros, or maybe they may not crack a team or what have you, but the benefits might actually outweigh the negatives in staying in school, getting the scholarship, knowing that they're actually being paid will actually keep them there through their senior year. And essentially, with that actually would give more credence to the program as well. So being able to recruit a lot better as well for these kids coming out of high school. So I don't know, just maybe like 3 or 4 different reasons why I think, like, outside of monetary, just like what that might bring in terms of attraction and what that might bring the university as a whole and athletes. That's why I think they should be paid. So just looking at other factors.
Like the whole booster thing, maybe they wouldn't have to secure bank from boosters if they were actually securing bank from their school and getting paid for the labor. Like, it's so exploitative. Is that the word? Exploitative? You know what I mean? NCAA totally exploits these athletes and is making a killing off of it. Yeah, they funnel the money to other programs, sure, but they're making money hand over fist, and it's just not right. And then you have the other issue. People are actually complaining when players skip out on bowl games because they're worried about the upcoming draft. I don't blame these players one bit. Why should they risk getting hurt for the school that really doesn't give a crap about them? Let's call it what it is. They got to worry about themselves, especially in football. It's so dangerous. One hit could totally change your life, your whole career trajectory. So at least if they're getting paid, then you could say that you have no reason to skip out on the bowl game at this point because you are getting paid for it. I think it would eliminate that issue, maybe not fully, but at least a little bit.
I think the fact that a lot of older players are complaining, and normally I like to be in the middle, because older players, it's the get off my lawn stuff. It's like, oh, the game shouldn't be changing. Games are going to evolve. But this is what bothers older players, is that, like, these kids don't care about winning bowl games. They don't care about winning games. They're there to get to the next level, and that's fine. But
as they should. But isn't there a career for them? Hold on, isn't there a career for them? So you got to treat it like that.
So they don't. Okay. So and I think
for the top guys, for the guys that know they're not going anywhere and they're not going to play in the NFL, it might be a little bit different. But if you're a top guy, what benefit is it to you to play in a bowl game when your draft stock is what it is at that point? You're going to get drafted. What benefit is you have way more to lose than you have to gain?
This has to do with the NFL basically paying. Back in the day when the NFL didn't pay as much, you didn't have these issues where it was like, well, either way, we're going to get a certain amount of money. And, they play. It's like they don't even play for the love of the game anymore.
So now you're blaming the NFL for this reason.
No, I'm not blaming
paying these players what they should be
I'm
getting.
not blaming the NFL, but you just said these kids shouldn't care about college games. I would care if I was at a team. I mean, you're on a team. Oh, we don't want to play in the biggest game. Some of them, this might be the biggest game of their lives. And they're not going to get
kids,
to play.
They'll play. And for the other kids that it's not the biggest game, they got to look after themselves. That's the way I look at it.
That's sad.
I know it sucks as a fan.
This is where we are in sports.
College football team this is your number one team and you love it. Yeah, it sucks to see a player sit out that you really need to win that bowl game, but maybe they shouldn't be exploited the way they are.
Joe, should a player in his final year of his contract going into a playoff say, I'm not going to play this playoffs. I got a contract coming up, a potential
apples and oranges. That player is still under contract at that point. So yeah, they cannot do that. And yes, they should still.
But you're getting a scholarship to play. They're paying you to play in terms of scholarship.
Okay. Go and check how much these schools make. Go like Alabama's in the national championship game again. Go check how much that school is making because they're in the national championship, and come speak to me how. Oh yeah, $100,000 scholarship that really makes up for it.
I'm not saying it's totally the NCAA skates by here, and they've created all these rules where basically they don't monetize any of the players to keep them down. It's a terrible system. What I'm saying is I don't think paying them is going to help very much, and the fact that we have athletes that say, well, it's just about the money has just confirmed basically what we all know is that sports is just a business, and if people don't care about sports and you're not a big fan, I don't blame you anymore because guys don't really play for the game. They don't play to win. They're just playing to get paid. And that's the frustrating part for a lot of older people. Now, there should be a system where the NCAA funnels money. I kind of agree with Frank's point. Being on a football team is like a second job. So to have to get a job on top of that is like having a third job. Now, these kids should be getting money, but in terms of paying them, all of a sudden now we're going to say, well, the 5-star recruit's going to get $1 million a year, and the walk-on's going to get, $500 a week, and it's just like there's going to be. I think it's an amateur sport. Find a way to get them money. Find a way to get these schools more money. But in terms of paying, I don't like it. It's amateur. Let them make their own stuff on the side, but I don't want money to get involved. The NCAA just has to find a way to make it look like they're giving more money back because everybody knows they're greedy pigs and they're keeping all the money for themselves.
Yeah. All right. I hear your point, but I just disagree with it. So let's hear what you think. I know this is a debate that happens every year at this time. So I want to hear what you guys think. Should college athletes be taken care of more? Should they be paid? Or should we just skate along the way we've been doing it for the last 100 years?